My cousin hired a child to pretend to be my fiancé's secret daughter. I opened my wallet and said, "How much do you want to take her down?" My cousin Delphine went on one date with my fiancé Nico 7 years ago, and she never got over the fact that he didn't call her back. She brought it up constantly. Every family dinner she'd find a way to touch his arm and say, "Remember our date? We had such a connection." Nico would look at me uncomfortably and I'd change the subject. At my bridal shower, she cornered Nico in the kitchen and said, "You know you picked the wrong cousin. There's still time to fix that mistake." Nico told me and I confronted her. She smiled at me and said, "I'm just being honest. He settled for you because I wasn't available." I said she was delusional and she laughed and said, "We'll see who's delusional when the truth comes out." I didn't know what that meant, but she started making comments at every family event. She'd say things like, "Some men have secrets they don't want their wives to know about." She'd look at Nico and say, "Are you sure she knows everything about your past?" My aunt told me Delphine had been making phone calls late at night and giggling about a surprise she was planning for my wedding. 2 weeks before the ceremony, Delphine's sister showed up at my door looking sick to her stomach. She said, "Delphine has completely lost her mind. She's been planning something horrible and I can't let her do it." And then she hired a little girl to show up at your wedding and pretend to be Nico's secret daughter. She's been rehearsing with this kid for weeks. She has a whole script written out. She showed me texts from Delphine bragging about how the wedding would be ruined and Nico would finally see that I wasn't worth his time. She said, "She keeps saying the daughter will blow up your relationship and then he'll have no choice but to come crawling back to her. She's been obsessed with him since that one date. It's scary." We found the girl's mother through Delphine's sister. She was an actress who did background work in commercials. She said Delphine had paid her $500 for her daughter to deliver a message at a wedding. She showed us the script Delphine had written. The little girl was supposed to walk up to Nico during the reception and say, "Hi, Daddy. Mommy said it's time you met me." The mother looked embarrassed and said, "I needed the money. I didn't know it was meant to hurt someone." I looked at Nico and then I looked at the mother and I opened my wallet. I said, "How much do you want to take her down?" She smiled and said, "I'm listening." We spent 3 hours rehearsing with her daughter Marigold exactly what she was going to say. The wedding reception was beautiful, and Delphine was practically vibrating with excitement. She kept checking her phone and looking at the door. During dessert, she stood up and clinked her glass. She said, "I have a very special surprise for the happy couple, someone who deserves to finally meet her father." The doors opened and Marigold walked in wearing a white dress. Delphine was grinning so wide I thought her face would crack. Marigold walked right past Delphine toward the head table. Delphine said, "Go ahead, sweetheart. Tell everyone who your daddy is." Marigold picked up the microphone and said, "That woman paid my mom $500 to say that man is my father. I've never met him before in my life." Delphine's smile froze. Marigold reached into her pocket and pulled out folded papers. She said, "She wrote me a script. Here it is in her handwriting." She held it up for everyone to see. Then she said, "She also wrote other stuff about the bride. Can I read it?" I nodded. Marigold unfolded another paper and read, "Nico will realize he wants me when he sees what a lying tramp his wife is. He'll leave her at the altar and we'll finally be together like we were meant to be." The room gasped. Delphine screamed, "That little brat is lying. I never wrote that." Marigold's mother stood up from a table in the back and said, "I have the text where you sent me these exact words. I have the Venmo payment with your name on it. I have a voicemail of you saying, and I quote, 'Once he sees he has a secret daughter, he'll leave that boring cow and come running back to me.'" Delphine's face went completely white. My uncle stood up and said, "Delphine, what the hell is wrong with you?" She started sobbing and said, "He was supposed to be mine. We had one perfect date and then he ghosted me for no reason. 7 years I've been waiting for him to realize his mistake." Nico stood up and said, "Delphine, I didn't call you back because you spent the entire dinner talking about how you wanted to get pregnant immediately, so I couldn't leave you. You planned our wedding on a napkin before we ordered appetizers." Delphine screamed, "Because I knew we were soulmates." Security escorted her out while she was still screaming that Nico would regret choosing me over her. Delphine was banned from all family events permanently. Marigold and her mother stayed for cake.